Well, it's 3:45 in the morning. The moon has already gone. Unfortunately, you can't see the stars, but we are getting ready to approach Subdome with headlamps and catch sunrise at Half Dome. She is the most adventurous woman I know. All right, lead the way, girl. Do you know the way? It's that way. It's just so black. Pitch black. Base of Subdome. You ready, girl?
Yeah.
Ready as we will ever be. And here we go. Up, up, up we go. So this first part of Subdome, it's just like a bunch of switchbacks. Huh? You already sweating? We've been going for 4 minutes. Yeah, pretty steep terrain. When I saw Subdome from a distance, I couldn't believe we were going to climb it without, anything but steps. But the switchbacks are significant and reminds me of Lord of the Rings, the Tower of, what is it, Cirith Ungol. Up, up, up we go to the tunnel. To the top of Subdome. We're already shedding layers down to tank tops and rolled up pants. Already wishing I had brought shorts, but that's all right. So pretty easy.
I was just, out of breath.
Yeah, just out of breath. I mean,
The trail's really.
the trail's super distinct. Stairs have been cut, so you couldn't lose the trail if you wanted to, really. And it's easy climbing. It just takes your breath away. We're on the small descent now from Subdome to the base of Half Dome, where we should find some cables. And maybe you can see the outline? Nope, not yet. Cool rock formations. Begins the cable run. Up into the black. On the cables, we got our harnesses on. And what we did is we just girth hitched a sling to our belay loop. We got, I got one non-locker, Michelle's got 2 non-lockers, opposing gates, equivalent of a locker. I have a prusik loop in case we want to prusik to the cable, we get nervous. And then, obviously this is not dynamic, so if you take a fall, it's gonna jerk on you pretty good. But what Michelle's gonna do, I'm gonna basically unclip, reclip, so that I would fall to that point, and Michelle's gonna do something different. She's gonna unclip one and reclip, so now she's redundant as she unclips. So it's just a little bit safer. All it costs you is a carabiner, and since we hiked 25 miles to get here, we were a little bit hesitant to bring too much gear, like our personal anchor systems and things like that. So, all right, off we go. Michelle's doing a great job. We girth hitched our carabiners to the sling, keep them in place, and we got some company down below. And looks like, I don't know, they're backtracking like something. They dropped something, I don't know. Maybe they're looking for a place to stash something. Almost to the top, and honestly, it's been pretty easy, the cable section. Honestly, the hike up Subdome, even the hike on Half Dome Trail, wore out our muscles and our breath and our heart more than this. The cable, I think that's probably 3/4 of an inch. And a standard length sling, what are these, 60 centimeters? Standard length sling. Girth hitch to the harness, girth hitch to the carabiner, that works great. We girth hitched Michelle's carabiners in place because she accidentally clipped the cable and not the sling, and it slung back down. The boards are really nice to stand on. And I mean, honestly, like it's really not that challenging. I mean, if you weren't clipped in, I'm not sure the psychological effect. But I mean, right now I'm doing it while filming. One thing we did bring, which we're really glad we brought, is some gloves. These are Black Diamond belay gloves, fingerless, and we're grateful for those. In fact, even just my fingers touching the cables, you know, they're kind of getting, it's slightly sharp. And it's also quite cold this morning, so we're grateful for gloves in that regard. Michelle, you said you feel totally safe?
Yeah, I mean, having this whole system. I mean, I've never slipped, so
Yeah.
I would never do this without this.
Yeah.
But
Free solo.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's some risk here when I unclip and reclip. It would be ideal to bring a carabiner with a key lock nose like that, so it's not getting snagged like instead of a wire gate, depending on how nervous you are, whatever. But yeah, she just I have them girth hitched just 6 inches apart so she can go from one side of the pole to the other. And obviously you could take, you know, what we would call in climbing a lead fall, where you fall and get really hurt. So they're not like a prusik, but you know, these posts are spaced like 8 feet apart. So if you were prusiking and unprusiking every 8 feet, I mean, that would probably drive you mad. But it would just take a long time. Yeah, it's weird. There was 3 headlamps coming up. You see them right there, and they were flying. I mean, they were cruising. And they got to the base of the cables, and I thought they were going to pass us up. And then they turned around, went home. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if they were freaked out. Maybe they forgot their harnesses or something. Or maybe they thought they could do it without harnesses and change their mind. I don't know. But we actually have this place all to ourselves again, which I'm pretty happy about. Not that I mind people, but pretty special to just be Michelle and me and the Lord on Half Dome. All right, we're at the top of the cables. We made it safely.
We made it!
It took us a half hour to do the cables, for what that's worth for somebody. And yeah, really happy to have gloves. And one thing I wish you'd brought a couple of spare carabiners. Michelle clipped one to a cable, but not the sling, so it slid down. And that was fine. But you know, something worse could have happened. We could have lost it altogether. So she would have still been clipped in, but not twice, unless I gave her mine. So, and I could have had just a few extras on my belt. So yeah, it's something to think about. Bring a few extras if you do this method. And it's basically a via ferrata method, but it's static lines instead of dynamic. So that was a compromise for us. We already own that stuff, and we thought it was safe enough. And I'm a little bit more risk-taking than you, but you said you felt totally safe.
Yeah, I mean, I felt great.
Good. All right, we're gonna go check out the view. We have almost an hour to spare, so. Helpful little sign here. It says, if a thunderstorm occurs while you're here, these are the safest things to do. Stay away from the cables. Get rid of any metallic objects. Stay away from caves, overhangs, and large cracks in the rock. Go to the lowest place on top. That's ironic. And sit on any non-metallic objects you have to insulate you from the rock. Wait. Stay there until the storm has passed. Peligro. Si uno tormento ocurriera mientras está aquí usted. Hey, I know aquí usted.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Yes, that's Fresno. That's basically due west. And the valley's over there. That's what the valley looks like at night. Not very interesting, but there's a good amount of light down there. At this moment, we have Half Dome 100% to ourselves. We're the only ones up here. It is 5:30. First light is at 6:08, I think. And we're just gonna hunker down kind of in this little area. We brought the stove. We're gonna make some coffee.
Yeah!
And we brought Andrew Skirka. We brought a Frito beans up here for breakfast.
Has there ever been Frito beans?
So yeah, first light isn't even here, but I already see all these little peaks and jagged pieces all over the place, which is pretty cool. And that is where the sun's gonna come up. That's east over there. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then you can see the city lights over there. And we got the coffee going. Oh yeah. The Trail Design Kojins, the best stove and pot holder design ever. Traildesigns.com. Go pick them up. I don't get a commission. I just like the guys. Video of the scene up here. Couple of youngsters up here, almost naked, freezing their butts off. No permit, but 5 liters of water. Don't worry. There's no names. Don't worry. And we got a painter up here. How many countries have you been to? 63?
63, some of them dozens of times.
137th and 138th painting?
Inside the park here.
Yeah, okay, right on. He's gonna do sunrise, and then he's gonna stay for sunset. There's an El Cap.
Scary. I mean, I'm not staying up here. I'm getting down someplace. Well, let's see.
There's the scene. Look at that view. It's crazy. There's El Cap, North Dome. One of those is Basket. I'm not sure which one. Look at that. And that's Michelle right there. 4 minutes to sunrise. Just 2 minutes before sunrise. The sky's looking really pretty over there. That's facing west, which is obviously not where it's gonna rise. Look at that. Gosh, it's crazy up here. So good. So pretty. Shell, everything you hoped for?
Yeah.
The texture on this rock, it's hard to describe it. That right there, maybe my favorite scene. Sitting very safely, but look at this view. One little cloud is just lit up orange from the sun coming up in just a minute here. Oh, it's just it's just indescribable. Sun is up, and it doesn't make for good photography, but that's half down there. And yeah, so this is like totally flat. Like you could like play football here. I mean, this area here, like you could put, I don't know, 100 tents. The top of this thing, you know, you think of it as like this pinnacle precipice, but I mean, that is like perfectly flat, and no danger for, I don't know, 200 feet in every direction. So makes for an interesting experience. Yeah, that's kind of, everyone's over there on the top, kind of. I'll just notice is, look, that's the Half Dome, that's the shadow of Half Dome. Huh, on El Cap. Oops. Isn't that neat? This guy's up here painting. That's what he's got so far. How far would you say this is from being done?
Oh, 6 to 8 hours. I have half a day.
Oh, okay, wow.
This is just what's called underpainting.
Underpainting, okay.
So I get everything blocked in with tones, if you would, and then I'll start working brushwork.
Getting ready to head down. Beautiful beer. All right, well, that's it, folks. We're gonna finish our time up here on Half Dome. Yeah, so it took us 30 minutes to do Subdome, which is the section between the cables and where you have to have a permit, and basically between the area where the ranger stands and the cables, and then 30 minutes to do the cables. And I mean, we took a couple breaks. I was actually more worn out and tired on Subdome than the cables. Maybe that's because you stop and stand on those planks, but you're also using your arms a lot more. And sunrise was beautiful. We're the first and only people up here for about a half hour. Then we were joined by 3 young 19-year-old boys who, let's see, Sean, what was it, Owen?
Olin.
Olin and Peter. They're all starting college next week. They're like so classic. They were so ill prepared. They had like no warm clothes, no gloves, and they were those 3 lights that we saw coming up on us. And then they turned around. They basically said they got spooked. They heard us talking about harnesses and clipping in, and then they thought like, man, this is foolish. We shouldn't do this. Let's wait for some more sunlight. And then, dude, they were in like super short shorts and tank tops, basically, just freezing their butts off. And of course, they were up here without a permit because they're 19-year-olds. So classic. I mean, they were like the proverbial 19-year-old in every way, shape, and form. But nice kids. And yeah. So let's see. Maybe just a quick summary. The harnesses were great. The carabiners were great. I'd bring 2 more carabiners. The gloves were fine. Fingerless, I mean, that's kind of a personal preference if you want to run a phone or something like that. We don't yet know what it's like to go down, so we'll tell you that in a minute. But I don't know. I mean, I know that if you don't own a harness like this, then you're looking at $50 a harness, $10 a beaner, $10 a sling. So, you know, you're out $100. But honestly, I would say clip in. Of course, it can be done without. That's obvious, but it really is very steep and slippery at times. And I'm kind of amazed the National Park Service lets people do it without this, because they're like nitpicks about, you know, don't touch that branch because you leave no trace. But then, you know, I don't know. It's weird to me. I think sometimes the National Park Service cares more about bears and lichen than they do people, because, you know, they're so afraid of a bear dying, but then they let people come up here like this. So I don't know. It's a little confusing to me, but to each their own. So we're gonna head down now and take some shots along the way, and then give our thoughts at the end about what the descent is like, which we think will probably be scarier. Plus now we can actually see what we're doing, but not necessarily scary, but scarier. There's a slight difference. Here's the view coming down the cables. Michelle changed her technique a little bit, so instead of always being doubled up, she's just doing a single beaner, and then she's clipping. 2 non-lockers are equivalent to a locker in terms of safety, so it'd be slightly safer to be double locked, but I think it's unnecessary. Your sling's getting twisted up. See that? Because of the way you're doing it.
Okay.
So just, yeah. No, you'll need to undo both and do it. So I guess you need to be a little bit cognizant of going under, over, under, over. That way you won't get as twisted up. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's fine. How's the descent so far?
That was the easy part.
Yeah, it's not steep yet. This part, I mean, it's gonna get steep. We're going normal. They say to go backward. They also say that this area gets really slippery, the granite, because everyone's shoes. And they say walking outside the cables is better in the sense of it's more grippy out here, which I think is probably true. Obviously, being outside the cables feels a little bit more exposed, and you can't grab with both hands. You can only grab with one hand. And we did not really find it to be that polished and that slippery. So I don't know that walking outside the cables really makes sense, but someone said it really does. So yeah. Yeah, so this area is Subdome, and we camped right there, like 300 feet off the trail, and on a nice flat spot. You could almost see our tent, but that's where we camped, and that was great. We had like a 2-minute walk to the base of Subdome, and then the whole thing only took us an hour. So we're going to talk to a ranger and ask, and kind of get the final answer on whether that's allowed or not, but we're basically 95% convinced that it is allowed. So on the steep sections, we like going backward better. It seems like your foot doesn't slip as much. When you're facing downhill, the ergonomics seems fine, but our feet seem to slip more. So we're gonna do the steepest bits backward. So there's the angle. Looks like 45 degrees-ish. I really like that one. Subdome down there. Someone let people pass us.
You,
Now we're stuck.
well, you paused over here for a second.
Don't blame it on me.
That's why I did it.
Here's a look at the angle from this side. So yeah, yeah, the distance between these is, I think, probably less than 3 feet, or maybe just at 3 feet. So when people are trying to pass each other, it can get a bit tight. I'm on the outside, and now that we're descending and we're in the steep bits, I can confirm it's less slippery out here by a good bit. Looks like they just put these poles into the holes, and then they have just some 2x4s with various metal strapping. Not the best piece of wood, with a big knot right there. So it's kind of, I don't know, like it's just really surprising to me that this is what the National Park Service does, you know, for such a sketchy thing. I'm not criticizing it. It's just, it seems inconsistent to me compared to some of the other things they do to like the nth degree, and then this feels like just a little bit janky. I mean, we feel safe, but you know, just like there's these super sharp edges right here where presumably they custom cut these grooves and these pipes, and you know, just if you know, there's just, I don't know, with climbing you see accidents where like you prick your finger and it causes you to take your hand off because you're startled, and you know, it could be really bad. So it's not a criticism, it's just awareness for someone who may be watching this and thinking about doing it, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. You know, you're trusting your life to, you know, boards like that with massive knots in them and stuff like that, and it is steep, and it would be a fatal fall. I think this is the steepest section from what I can perceive. Also one of the most beautiful. Yeah, I just took a measurement with my phone, 42 degrees. So yeah, it's almost 100% grade. Rise over run, 1 for 1. How you doing?
Great.
Yeah, I feel safe.
I feel safe.
You like going backward better?
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely stickier outside the cables.
Yeah.
And if you're tethered, then that might be an option for you.
But I like holding on with both hands.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so there's a few sections where the cables intersect, where they had to put a new cable in, so this can get a little bit more hairy for those who may be nervous. Good job, Shell. So not all, yeah, this is a slippery section. So not all of them are just from here to here. Let's step out here a little bit. You can kind of study how that works. The one comes down and then joins, and then that one joins. So some of the clipping is not totally standard, but good job.
No big deal.
Yeah, this is just a good example. So like this is a super steep section, and when they cut this slot out, they just left a massive burr. Yeah, just gives you a sense of it right there. And I mean, it's super sharp. And if you're grabbing on this when you're coming up, I mean, you could really totally cut your hand super bad. And then if that cut, you know, startles you and you let go, that would not be cool. So just a little detail to consider. So it's not even 8:30, and there's only, I don't know, 15 people on the cables right now. I mean, they're basically empty, but watching people try and pass each other, I mean, that's really, I think, the biggest opportunity for danger. I also think there can be a lot of social pressure, like hurry up, we want to pass, you know, and people, like there's a guy going faster than his wife, and so they kind of got separated and people got put in between them, and I think that might be the biggest opportunity for risk on these things. All right, well, I'm on the last clip. We're basically all the way down. I did 95% of it on the outside here, up and walking backward. And it's really sticky out here and smooth, and it's really fast. Probably could have done the whole thing in 8 minutes, but we got caught behind some people, and Michelle was a little bit slower, which is no problem. So yeah, that's one way to do it. And oh yeah, watch out for stuff like this. Let's see, the cables are coming loose, super sharp. So gloves are a nice choice, but even gloves probably won't protect you from that. So yeah, it's Half Dome. Awesome, wonderful. I'm super pumped we did it with headlamps at night. I'm super pumped that we were the first ones up there and the only ones up there for a half hour. That really made my day. And I'm not trying to like one up other people. It's just more unique. And as things like this get overused and overrun, You know, you can just kind of feel like cattle being herded around. Some people call this like Disneyland, you know, it's just waiting in big lines. Someone told us they waited like 2 hours at the base of the cables, waiting for their turn because they were so crowded. And that just, I don't know, when you're out here in the wilderness, that kind of sucks the fun out. So super pumped we did it the way we did, and it worked out great. All right, we're down off the cables and safe. This is what they look like. Your hands?
Must have been gripping pretty hard.
So, okay, what comments would you have now that it's over? Anxiety's behind you?
I mean, being clipped in makes like it a fun experience, not a terrifying experience. I mean, obviously I've never done it not being clipped in, but like on the way down, you know, just like sliding backwards, but knowing that you know that it would catch you if you fell.
Right.
And then even being able to like step off the side, get out of the way for people to go up.
Yeah, right.
Or come past you was really nice.
Right, yep. What comments would you have for people who have rock climbed or haven't rock climbed?
I think rock climbing helped me not to be afraid.
Yeah.
Like, I had a lot more confidence with the heights and just trusting my harness and the carabiners and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I wasn't scared at all coming down.
Good, yeah. Yep.
It was fun.
Awesome.
Really fun.
Thanks for your comments. They might help someone.
I hope they do.
Yeah. Nice trail system you can see from up here. It's kind of cool. Polly, Mama just said she feels super accomplished. Yeah.
I'm glad we're not doing it right now.
In the sun?
Yeah.
With all those people?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it at night. That was so nice.
Yeah. I can see our tent now, although it's gray, so it's probably hard to see. But that big boulder, just right there, is our tent. You can see the triangular thing. It really blends in considering that it's gray. So this is the section of subdome, between the top of subdome and all the switchbacks. Honestly, this is like as sketchy as the cables, I would say. I mean, they have these big steps, which is great, but there's like lots of loose gravel all over them. And some of the steps are really big, like in terms of elevation change per step. And I mean, like it's like super steep right next door. So just something to think about. You know, it's not just about the cabled section. This section it requires a lot of thought and concentration too. So don't take it lightly. I will say it's not even 9 a.m. and the sun is just scorching. I mean, like there's hundreds of people on their way up right now. Well, maybe not hundreds, but like it's 9. It's not even like noon or 2. And man, the sun is just killer. So even if you don't want to do the cables like at night, man, try and get an early start because the sun is brutal. So we're just gonna pack up our stuff. There's the dome. So at the base of Subdome, actually right there, you can see a sign. And actually, if you look real closely there, you can see there's a ranger sitting there. And he wasn't there when we hiked in at 4 a.m. But he did check our permit there at the exit. And there was no problems, but they do check, I guess, on the exit in case there's ragamuffins cheating the system. We didn't talk to him about our campsite. He seemed super rude and unpleasant and not very friendly, so we didn't bother getting ourselves into some sort of issue. We are interested in knowing what the real rules are, but everything we can see, it looks like you can. So if you look really carefully, that little white stripe right there, you can see people. There's probably 4 or 5 that stand out in contrast. So yeah, that's it. We did it. Half Dome, check mark.
Awesome.
Now we just have to, the adventure's done except for 8 more miles and then like 14 more days.
8 miles.
Chipstick. So we're about halfway down the Half Dome Trail. And Michelle and I were just talking about how happy we are we did it the way we did it. And it's funny because people would be like, oh, I can't believe you did it at night. That's so crazy or risky or adventurous. But honestly, it was like way easier. I mean, it is just, the sun is just killer right now. It's 10:20 And I mean, there are people who we're meeting on the trail right now who already look like they're, you know, heat stroke ready. And they're about to be out in the sun for 3 hours in a queue with people wanting to get up the cables. And it seems like most of the people, a couple people have asked us, you know, oh, did you do it and how was it? And most of the people are doing it without harnesses. And I mean, there's just a couple people who, you know, just don't look physically fit enough to be up here. And I'm not judging. I mean, if they do it and they have a great time, I'm super happy for them. But just, I mean, just how there's so many small variables that can like make or break this thing. The time of day, the clouds, the crowds, if the rock is slick, if you have a harness, if you have enough water, I mean, if you have the right clothes, sunscreen, I mean, there's really kind of a lot. And I'm still kind of amazed that the Park Service just lets people do this. The ranger gave like a little pep talk we stuck around for. When we came out, he was giving a pep talk to people who were coming in and just had like some tips for them and stuff. And I kind of thought like, man, if you don't already know these things, like you're already behind. You shouldn't be learning them for the first time now. But anyhow, isn't it crazy to think that just a few hours ago we were up there?
Yeah, it's really crazy.
And you probably can't see it, but that white streak, I can see there's like 60 people on the cables, and it is unbelievably hot already. And we're passing people on this trail right now who have come up from the valley, and they have, you know, all of Half Dome ahead of, I mean, they have like 12 or 14 miles ahead of them right now. And oh my goodness, like even the ones who look fit and in shape, I almost want to be like, dude, just come back tonight, like when the sun is not so bright. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'm more sensitive to the heat than others, but I don't think I could do it. Just hiked through the Little Yosemite Campground, which looked all right. All these places are always like kind of overused, but look at this. That's the Merced. Nice, beautiful little beachy area, all kinds of sand. Nice. We're gonna get a nice bath. This is Nevada Falls. I love the way it twists and turns into these pools before dropping over the edge. So here it is. There's Nevada. Really huge. We're gonna get a view from the other side though. And that is Glacier Point. And no wonder I look at this place. This still isn't the best view of it. Because when you see it from this angle, it just looks absolutely massive. Of course, the drop is huge, but you actually need to see it from over there looking back. It looks a lot cooler. Hopefully we'll get to that point. This part of the Mist Trail is really steep going up to Nevada Falls. One of the steepest sections really of our trip. There's a little look at Nevada. Get an even better view in a few minutes. There's another nice view of Nevada. In the spring when it's just pouring, it's really incredible. Pretty interesting terrain here on the Mist Trail between Nevada and Vernal. Leave no trace, guys. Come on. Those poor roots. Fun little slot here. Drops down into a bowl. Super cool. Really pretty spot along the Mist Trail. Look at that. And then there's Nevada way over there. It's a beautiful spot. We like have had our heads down so much just hiking because we're exhausted, like miss the scenery almost. Look at that. How much fun would that be? Sliding down that guy right into Emerald Pool. This is the top of Vernal Falls. Big one. This guy doing back down there in the water. This is part of the way that it gets the name, the Mist Trail. I'm getting misted right now. And then kids, if you're watching, way down there's a bridge. You've been on that bridge and seen it. That's where we were first time we were in Yosemite together. Another steep section of the Mist Trail, but really fun. It hugs this rock. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but that's Vernal Falls slapping on the rock. Sounds like almost like a jet engine, like when an airplane flies by. Really interesting. There's Vernal from the bottom. Super cool. We're gonna go for a swim. Like an idiot, I didn't take my camera, but I just swam. I jumped off, I don't know, 20 feet, 10 feet, and swam at the bottom of Vernal. Really, really nice waterfall. Might be my favorite waterfall ever that you can swim at. If you just look where it's water's hitting the rock right there, it gets moving so fast. It's amazing. It's a really good one. The water's freezing cold, but very nice color. So we are on our last mile, less than a mile hopefully, back to Curry Village. We're on the road now. Just finished essentially the Mist Trail. We're feeling totally exhausted. We got up at 3:30. And I'm not sure how many miles we did today, but 10 or more. And we're just talking about how like, it might be the most mileage and certainly the most elevation change, which matters more than mileage in many ways. Yes, we were just talking about how every day was exhausting. There were really no easy days. The first day was like 8 miles or something with super high altitude. Well, high for us, 10,500. And heavy packs, I suppose. And then today, lightest packs, but most elevation change. One thing that was interesting is we packed up kind of early this morning, quick. And Michelle ended up with actually a heavier pack than me because we've been changing gear around to try and simplify, you know, getting out, opening a bag. It's like all the clothes in one. And I took all the water today. So that was 8 pounds of water. Somehow her bag still ended up seemingly heavy or as heavy as mine. And so her knees and ankles were bothering her. And so I took like 8 or 9 pounds out of her bag. And within like 10 minutes, my ankles and knees were pounding. So it's just interesting to see how like the effect of the weight isn't necessarily that you like breathe harder. It's joints. All right, we're gonna catch this bus. We'll talk to you later. Look, Michelle. Look what it is. Oh my goodness. That's a favorite of the kids. Where are we headed?
Shower.
Where are we going after showers?
Oh, restaurant.
Restaurant. I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you.
I want to eat right now.
If you want to experience comfort, experience discomfort. If you want to experience pleasure, experience displeasure. It just makes everything so much sweeter.
Every day there was just, I'm so miserable. I'm so happy. I'm so miserable. It's like ups and downs and...
Nice little combo. All right, show everyone your battle wound. Come on. Come on, show how tough you are.
Blister.
You've been putting up with that thing. You are so tough.
And then I've got like a mini one over here.
Come on. Look at those feet. Come on.
No, I tried to scrub these like
YouTube
crazy.
will never be the same.
Okay, it won't even come off.
Was that not the most amazing shower?
The best ever. Like,
The pressure in there?
For like an hour.
The pressure in there was like 10 times our own house. Scalding hot. That was literally the world's best shower. Okay, so I was sitting here before Michelle came out and I was clipping my fingernails and this girl, kind of about my age, said, you know, like, hey, sorry, are you from Tennessee? And I was like, yeah. And she said, are you from Chattanooga? And I was like, yeah. And I was like wondering, why would you say that? And it was my shirt. This is Rock Creek. It's an outdoorsy store, Chattanooga. So we started talking, and I think it was her and her boyfriend or husband, I'm not sure. And we started talking, and I was like, oh, where in Chattanooga do you live? And they said Ottawa, which is where we live. And then they said off of Hunter Road, and basically they live like 6 streets from us, which just seemed impossible. And then we started talking about our occupations, and I mentioned kind of my story at Volkswagen, and she's like, wait, which department did you work in Volkswagen? And turns out I worked with her dad for many, many years. And then the funny thing was I was with her dad years ago when he had a bicycle accident. And so I went to the hospital, and this girl that's her dad. And I said that, and I met her in the hospital like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, or something like that. And we're here in Yosemite. It's just like totally stumbled upon it. It was great. It's like, I love that stuff for summer. It's so cool to be somewhere and run into someone you know like that. And they got as big of a kick out of it as we did. So that was just really fun. All right, Shell. How much did we pay for this hotel room?
$358.
We got out a day early and we were so exhausted, and after showering and eating it was already dark, and we just could not bring ourselves to hike into the backpackers campground with a bad blister and set up the dusty tent. We almost slept in our car, which is not allowed, and we almost drove out of the park and slept somewhere, which we were too tired to drive. So we got up at 3:30 this morning, and we've treated ourselves to a hotel room so we can get a good night's sleep. Say goodnight to day 5.
Oh, goodness.